Welcome, everyone. My name is Mr. Ambriz, and I'm here with Caleb Castillo. Say hi, Caleb.
Mm,
We are here in a small segment called Caleb Strong. Today, we're going to talk about a story that happened back in 2020 to Caleb. It's an accident that he was in while he was riding his bike. So, Caleb, this was during the pandemic, right?
yeah.
Well, what happened was I got some story from Caleb, which he tells me that it's bits and pieces that people tell him, and I got an email from mom that tells me the rest of the story. So I'm gonna kind of read off what mom said and ask questions to Caleb as well, and he's gonna respond to me because he does not remember what happened, but people have told him what happened, and there's been witnesses that seen what happened. So am I correct in saying to the people that you don't remember what happened, but people have been telling you what happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Well, Caleb, during the pandemic back in 2020, well, how just like everybody, we were all bored at our houses. Nothing to do, decided he wanted to go to a friend's house. So he started asking mom if he can go to a friend's house. Mom was telling him no. But Caleb was being persistent and asking, please, can you go? Can you go? Until finally mom gave in. So Caleb got his bike ready and got his phone ready. And he has a phone mount for his bike, and he put it on his bike. He started getting ready and he took off, started riding his bike to his friend's house, talking on the phone with this friend through FaceTime. But he points the phone away from looking at it, has the phone mounted on the bike for safety so he wouldn't get distracted. So, to not make the story long, he gets to a big intersection, tells a friend to wait because he wants to check to make sure there's no cars coming. He checks, starts riding his bike, and out of nowhere, a vehicle comes blazing and is not paying attention, and not until the last minute does the vehicle try to do something and swerve away. But instead of swerving away, it swerves right into Caleb. Well, a little bit of the piece of the email that mom said, the friend said that she heard, his friend heard Caleb say, "Oh shit." And after that, he went flying in the air like a rag doll. Is that true that you went flying in the air like a rag doll, Caleb?
Yeah.
So, imagine how hard the hit must have been if Caleb went flying in the air like that. So, Caleb got hit by this car where there's a lot of witnesses that saw what happened. Witnesses started saying that the driver tried to switch positions with the passenger, not knowing why the reason was for that until later on. Well, I'll explain. Caleb's friend got a hold of Caleb's grandmother, told him what had happened and where he was at. So grandmother got a hold of Caleb's mom. Us trying to think, the parents trying to think the least worst of everything. Thought, oh, Caleb probably broke his leg or his arm or something like that. Little small injuries, you know. So she went where the accident was at, and she saw the paramedic was already there. So, once she saw the paramedic, she noticed there was a helicopter on a field right close to where the accident was at. So she knew something had happened bad. So she ran over there to the paramedic, and the paramedics asked who she was, and she said, "Well, I'm Kaleb's mother." The paramedics once again told her, "Well, you need to get to San Diego to Rady's hospital right away. Your son was in a really bad accident." So paramedics took Kaleb on the helicopter to San Diego to the hospital. Mom turned around to start going home to get ready to go to San Diego, and she noticed chunks of Kaleb's hair on the ground at the scene of the accident. And that's when she knew something was really wrong. So people started stopping Kaleb's mom and telling her that they saw everything, and that they saw that the driver wanted to switch positions with the passenger. So the passenger declined with the driver, and they finally found out that he had no license and he had been drinking. That's the reason he wanted to switch seats. So, aside from the accident, the parents leave and go to San Diego. Mind you, this is during the pandemic, where you do not want anything to happen to you, because you cannot have anybody go and see you in the hospital because of the pandemic. Well, the parents got up there to San Diego. Doctor started explaining that Kaleb was in really bad conditions. He was in a coma. It will take a miracle for him to be okay and come back to us. So, hopes were little. Kaleb was in a coma for a very long time. Word started spreading around friends and family of the situation that happened. Friends wanted to go up there to visit him, but mind you, again, pandemic wouldn't let people do that. Kaleb was in a coma for a very long time, so they would only let the parents in one at a time. Then mom would get out, dad would go in. So that would be like that for a while. And so doctors would be like, "We don't know what's going to happen to Kaleb. We don't know if he's going to make it." Somehow or another, mom would be there, I guess, or during comas and things like that. Because to put it, I'm going to put an experience out there of myself. Because I too myself was in a 3-day coma due to an incident I had. But I'm not going to go into details because it's not my story. You can still hear. So I'm pretty sure Kaleb was hearing everything mom was telling him to come back to them and everything. Must have heard the doctor say there's not much chances. And Kaleb wanted to prove people wrong. Because Kaleb says himself that Kaleb is strong. He's a strong person. So, moving on from that. His friends went up there still, knowing they couldn't go into the hospital. They camped out in the parking lot. They had prayers for him outside in the parking lot. They gathered together, just showing their support for Kaleb. So after a long time of Kaleb being in a coma, he comes back. He wakes up. So they decide to have a bike run. Yes, guys. Kaleb showed me that it's called bike run, because last time I said bike ride, he's all, "No, it's a bike run." Is that correct, Kaleb?
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to say bike ride, and he's like, "No, it's not called bike ride. It's bike run." And that's where they came up with the name Kaleb Strong. That was the name of the bike run. That was, and I don't know if it's something that I spoiled because mom put it in the email. So maybe I spoiled the surprise because Kaleb said that he didn't know that they were, during the bike run, they were getting donations to build Kaleb a new bike. Did you know that? So I'm pretty sure they're using that as motivation when he starts walking again. So Kaleb, we need you to walk for us. Okay, buddy? So, moving on from that, they have the bike run so they can pay some hospital bills because there was a lot of hospital bills, and to surprise them with this new bike that they built for him. But I'm pretty sure they're waiting for him to start walking. So, this is where we're going to get into deeper into the story. We're going to go into the moral of the story because I let you know what happened because people have been asking me around school what happened. People that know him ask what happened to him. All I say is he was in an accident. His close friends know exactly what happened, but people that know him, his acquaintances, they ask me what happened. I said a little accident. So Kaleb wanted to tell his story because he wants to share with people that no matter what safety you take, what precautions you use, you never know what can happen to you. Kaleb was out there being careful, looking both ways, telling people to wait, even though he was on his phone, telling them to wait so he can check for traffic, and he still ended up getting hurt. But there's one thing that Kaleb did not do. And what was that, Kaleb?
Well,
Exactly. He was not wearing a helmet. And in today's youth, a lot of people do not wear helmets because they think it's not cool. It's not the right thing to do because, it's going to make me look stupid. But it could save your life. We're glad Kaleb is here with us, and he's doing better, and he's getting better, and he's gonna work harder, and he just wanted to tell the story so he can talk about safety and talk about making sure that you're careful while you're out there in the streets, whether you're riding a bike, you're walking, or you're on a scooter. Just be aware of your surroundings and make sure that you're safe because you never know what someone else is doing. You could be safe yourself, but you never know what can happen to you in a blink of an eye. So you were here with Mr. Ambris and Kaleb, and this was Kaleb Strong. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye, Kaleb.
yeah.